Hello, everybody. This is Deborah Flate from Dialogue Consulting, and this is Session 3 of your 21 JumpStart program to skyrocket your sales. I hope that you've had a chance to do Session 1 and Session 2 and do your checklists. These all build on each other, although you can certainly listen to them separately and as many times as you want. You own these, but I would really recommend that you do all three. These are only 3 of my 7 core principles that I do in my entire program, in my e-course, but these are 3 of the most important ones, and doing one without the other, which is sometimes what people do, it's much more powerful if you do all of them. So let's get started, and you will see my 7 core principles for optimized selling, which is sell with intention, change your focus, pull, don't push, be the solution, give clients what they need first, follow up with purpose, and make time count. Excuse me. So today we know that these are meant to be your core values of your new approach to selling. We talked a lot in Session 1 about why we have to change. So now today, starting today, these are all meant to be the core values of your new approach. So far we've learned how to sell with intention, and that means slowing down the process to be more intentional about what we're doing, thinking more about how to get more of the results we want, because that's really what it's all about, our results. That's what I always look at, our results. Getting to the results are the techniques, but we're going to focus, and you should be focusing on the results you want. In order to do that, you have to be very intentional about it. Excuse me. Having more clarity of the process we need to sell. Hello, everybody. This is Deborah Flate from Dialogue Consulting, and this is Session 3 of your 21-day JumpStart program to skyrocket your sales in 2017. So we want to review, of course, as always, our my 7 core principles, and that is sell with intention, change your focus, pull, don't push, be the solution, give clients what they need first, follow up with purpose, and make time count. And these are really meant to be the core values of your new approach to selling. Excuse me. So far we've learned to sell with intention, and what that really means, what does it mean, sell with intention? It means slowing down the process to be more intentional about what you're doing. And it also means thinking more about how to get more of the results you want, because that's really what we should be focusing on, is what result do I want with everything you do, whether it's making a phone call, being in front of a client, whatever it is, showing them product. We always need to be thinking about what goals do I have for this? What do I want out of this? What results do I want? That's how you sell with more intention. And it's also having more clarity of the process we need to sell more. And that will all keep you from staying out of the hamster wheel. That's selling it with intention. People ask me about time management all the time, and I tell them, if you do these things, if you do these techniques, if you really take this to heart and do it, and not just learn it, and not just hear it, and not just read it, but you actually put it into action, you will stay out of the hamster wheel. It'll automatically keep you out of the hamster wheel, because you will be doing less unintentional business and more intentional business. And the second thing we learned was how to change our focus. So we refocused from products to solutions. We ask the most pertinent questions that will drive sales. It's not just questions. They need to have a strategy, so that makes them pertinent. From busy to business. digging deeper, not wider. Because those that dig wider, those that try to be everything to everyone, those that try to keep all the balls in the air, it just causes a sense of overwhelm. But if we really dig deeper and upsell and get more, make our time count in front of a client and dig deeper into what they need, that will be less stressful and less busy work. So now we've done all of that. Now we can be the solution and make more sales in less time. And what I want you all to do from today on, since this is session 3, is I want you to say no to what does not work anymore. I want you to get out of those things that just give you busy work and implement more. Just phase it in, because you probably now suffer as this woman is suffering, or if you're a man, you can just make her a man, that you're suffering because you have so much overwhelmingly useless busy work. So I want you to start to funnel that out and funnel in the new, which is going to be highly qualified sales. So what are sales? We talk about it all the time, of course. What really are they? This is really the most important thing, especially for people, whether you're selling, whether you're a designer, whether you're a designer turned salesperson, whatever you are in the sales arena. We have to remember that sales are a facilitated decision. They're not pushy. They're not, the used car salesperson. They're none of that. They're really facilitating the decision. That's what you are doing in order to get sales. And product knowledge alone will not make the sale, because if we continue to focus on product without finding out what that client's needs are, it doesn't matter. None of the product matters. Providing the client with what they want may not be the same as what they need. If you're selling beautiful product, which I am quite certain you are, everybody is going to want it all. We all want it all. But what do we need is different. And what we need, we're going to pay for, even if it's a little more money, because you have discovered what they really need. They will pay for it. It's going to make their life easier. That's how you facilitate it. What they want may be totally different. They may have something in their mind that they want that's totally different, or you show them something they fall in love with because you haven't really gotten to the need. They fall in love with it, and you may as well just start the time clock, because that's when you're going to start busy work. So you need to get to what they need. Sales is about solving a problem and or a need. So you're solving a problem. Sales is not about giving clients enough information and hoping the sale will come. Many salespeople in a lot of industries, specifically our industry of design, it's rampant that people show product. I used to do it when I was in sales years ago. When I was actually doing sales, I would show them a ton of product, and then I would walk out and hope that they would buy something. That's what I would do. But guess what? Hope's not a strategy. So you can't do that. No more. Because sales requires a strategy. That is something that we need to really focus on. That's what we really need to focus on. For so many years, because this industry of ours is based on beauty, is based on product, is based on new innovation, which we all love and we need, but we spend less time focusing on a strategy of how to sell that product. It's great that we have that product, but we really don't take the time to focus on a strategy for how to sell that product and build a strong business. The results come from you. The strategy I can give you, the results come from you. So you must remember this, to be in the driver's seat as much as possible. As soon as the client starts leading you around, asking you to show them stuff, you've gotten out of the driver's seat. You need to be in the driver's seat as much as possible, because that way you're proactive and not reactive. Many salespeople are very proactive. The client calls them, and as the saying goes, the client says jump, the salesperson says how high, because they think that's the way they're going to get a sale. If they service the bejesus out of a client, if they, as told to me so many times, I bend over backwards for my client, and that's great, but if you're bending over backwards and your client really isn't ready to buy because you haven't really gotten to their need, it doesn't matter. You may as well do backflips all the way in the showroom, because it doesn't matter how far backwards you go if that client doesn't and you don't know what you're selling them, what the need is. So you always want to be proactive, and that will drive, pun intended, consistent sales. So top performers always know the difference between telling and selling. The definition of telling is a presentation, and the definition of a presentation is the manner or style in which something is given, offered, or displayed. That's what I'm doing with you right now. I'm presenting to you. I'm not selling you anything. I've already sold you this program, so now I'm presenting. But the definition of a sale, if I were doing that now, would be completely different. This would be just the opposite. I wouldn't be talking to you. I would be asking you all kinds of questions, because a definition of a sale or selling is the exchange of goods or services for an amount of money. That's what you're there to do. That's the results you want. The results should always be in your mind that you want to get to the next step and be of service to that person by facilitating that sale. So you want to always have that goal in mind. You want to get to the next step. And the next step, the top of the stairs, is the cha-ching, is the sale. So if you start off by giving information or product they cannot use immediately, which means anytime you give them information before fully vetting them, fully qualifying them, I can guarantee you, you are showing them something that they can't use immediately. I would say 60 to 70% of the time, that's why we have so much busy work, because we give them something that we think they need, we think they're asking for, because we haven't fully vetted them, and there it goes, the back and forth. Oh, this isn't the right budget, this isn't the right, whatever it is, 1,000 things. So you have to have a complete understanding of your client's needs, or if you give them too many choices, if you give them information they don't need, these are your guaranteed results. And that is a symbol of chance. And you leave your sales up to chance. You must uncover their needs, because first you have to build trust and rapport, and by asking them is building that trust and rapport. Then you have to continue to ask, that's digging deeper, continue to ask the right questions at the right time. You want to stair-step it so it flows. It's a conversation. It's just flowing. You're not giving them the third degree. You're having a conversation with them. But you're in the driver's seat. The strategy is for you to be in the driver's seat. And then you dig deeper, as I said, and then you summarize it and you set the stage. Another way of looking at this is I say that salespeople are meant to tee something up in golf terms. So what you're doing is you're teeing up your solution. You're teeing up your sale by doing all of these things. And only then can you fit, not force. So top performers always know the difference between, the difference to be a solution. They talk less. They ask great questions. They have very sharp listening skills. There are many, many persuaders, and that's what a salesperson is. We're talking about Jeff Bezos. We're talking about Oprah Winfrey. We're talking about Abraham Lincoln. We're talking about Bill Clinton. We're talking about Sheryl Sandberg from Facebook. We're talking about Howard Schultz. These people are all seekers of what's next. They all have amazing listening skills and amazing connections to their audience. And it doesn't mean it's about wealth. It's not about wealth. It's about them. It's about what comes from inside. So it has nothing to do with wealth. It has to do with their mindset. So great listening skills make a sale faster. So these are some things you want to be intentional about. We've all seen these before, but now what I want you to do is act on them. Act on them. So you want to be intentional. That's why you need to slow the process down. You want to face the speaker. Eye contact is the best bonding agent in sales. It shows that you're truly committed to that person. It's a very, very good, at least in the United States of America. I don't know about other cultures. I know there are some that don't like looking in the eye, but here we are in America, and this is the thing you want to do. Or Britain. We might be in Britain. Mentally screen out distractions like background activity and noise. That's really, really hard, so you have to be really intentional about it, really intentional. Listening without jumping to conclusions. More salespeople listen a little bit, and they're already planning on what they're going to say next, and they jump to conclusions. And you cannot assume you're hearing the right thing. I have a great short story about that happened to me when I was a designer, and I was doing this woman's kitchen, and she wanted wall covering. And the house was very contemporary. It was like a ranch-style house. It was very modern. And she said to me she wanted traditional wall covering. And so I was taking all these wall covering books in the midst of winter in Cleveland, Ohio, to her house that I assumed and came to the conclusion were traditional wall coverings. I'd been trained. I'm a designer. I know what traditional is, right? So I kept going over to her house, flipping through these papers, and she was, every single time, I probably did it 3 or 4 times talk about wasting time. And this is why I teach this now, because I know it. And so I finally said to her, if I'm not hitting on the mark, can you take I'll give you some magazines, just tear out or mark or dog ear, whatever you want to do, what you think is a traditional look. And let me tell you, nothing in the world was near traditional, which I kind of thought was a little off considering her house was very contemporary, but I listened to her and I jumped to conclusions. And it wasted a ton of my time and a ton of my energy climbing up those stairs in the dead of winter in Cleveland, Ohio. So do not jump to conclusions. And don't be a sentence grabber. I come from a family of sentence grabbers, so I work on this all the time. I was conditioned to be a sentence grabber. That's how we got attention. Don't be a sentence grabber. Don't spend time planning on what to say next. That's kind of the same tied into don't jump to conclusions. Don't think that you know before you get a clear message from your client. And ask questions only to ensure an understanding. So that's the strategy. The strategy is every question you ask should ensure that you get to the next step. Do you have a more understanding, and then more understanding, and then more understanding? So remember, once you look down, it's not engaging the client and not good for getting to the need, because then you're focusing on product. So she or he is going to be asking a ton of questions on the product, and you're focusing back on product, and there you go into the hamster wheel. Just jump in the hamster wheel because you'll be off to the races. So finally, you want to, as I said, tee it up. So you want to summarize and sell. You want to mirror back your understanding. Because again, if I would have done that with that client and said, so let me understand what I think traditional is floral. I think traditionals are paisleys, which is what I was showing her. I think traditionals are stripes. I think these colors are traditional. Is that what you're seeing as traditional? I could have saved probably 4 hours. So mirror back your understanding. You can say, just so I'm clear, and then once you mirror that back, the next thing to say is, I have the perfect solution for you. Those are very powerful words. What's not so powerful is, let me show you what I have. Words matter. So let me show you what I have. There's a huge difference in let me show you what I have and I have the perfect solution. Let me show you what I have illustrates that you really don't have a total comprehension of what the client's needs are. You really don't. It shows a lack of focus. It also does not exhibit confidence. I have the perfect solution is very confident. I know exactly what you want. Let me show you what I have. What is that doing? Let's all say it together. It's putting the client in the driver's seat. And it erodes trust a client has in your solution and in you. So words matter. Words matter. They matter what you say. It matters what you say, when you say it, and how your message is delivered, and that's what drives results. Words really matter. So now you have the problem, you've analyzed it, and now you come up with the perfect solution. You only want to provide, ideally, one, because if you say I have the perfect solution, one, but two options at the very, very most. That's why you don't want to say, let me show you what I have, because once you start saying that, it's just hop into the hamster wheel. So you only want to provide one or two solutions, and you should have those solutions once you get all that information. Excuse me, because too many options makes the choice way too difficult and lessens the opportunity. It slows down the sales process if you give more than two options. More options is not better. Remember, we talked about this in lesson 1, in session 1. More is not better. Busier is not better. More is not better. More phone calls, more emails, and more options are not better. Just more work for the client. And giving customers too many choices can overwhelm and lead to fewer sales. Because confused minds don't buy. Confused minds walk out, look at 10 other options, and then it all boils down to price. And you don't want that to happen. Confused minds do not. There's a internet marketing person that says if their minds are confused, their wallets stay closed. And that's very true. Think about it in your own life. If you're confused, are you going to buy something? Of course not. So you want to really narrow it down for them. So here's a little example. This is a pretty old scientific survey thing where they've also done it with ice cream. This particular one was done with jelly, and there was one booth that had 24 flavors and one booth that had 6. And the booth that had 24 flavors, only 3% of the people that went in front of that booth purchased. But the customers who sampled only 6, 30% purchased the product. And that's why too many choices just don't make sales. Confused minds don't buy. So the advantages of fewer choices are, as I said, you're in the driver's seat. It gives you the competitive edge, because if you have the perfect solution, why would anybody want to go anywhere else, even if they have to pay more? If you make their life and job easier, they're not going to go anyplace else. Chances are they're not. This isn't a perfect science, but I'm telling you, you will have the competitive edge. And you'll be proactive versus reactive. This is changing your attitude for success. And the more proactive you are, that changes everything and your attitude for success. And it gets you from point A to point B quicker. It also redefines the word help. Because how may I help you or how can I help you has a very different tone today than it did 7 or 8 years ago or 10 years ago. It has a much, much different tone now. And these are the results. So that's what we want. We talked about that at the beginning. I look at results. I don't care how they got there. I mean, I do care, actually. But you're going to get the results a lot faster if you start to really incorporate and take action, take action, take action. So your clients will be more loyal to you because you made their job easier. They know you're not going to waste their time. It saves them time. They buy more from you because they trust you, and people buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? And they'll refer you to more people. We all do that. When we have a great experience at a store, especially when you're buying something, or a showroom, or whatever it is, especially when you're buying something that's pretty big ticket item, which I consider anything over, $1,000 is a pretty big ticket for most people. And so when they're buying those big ticket items and you've helped them so well and done this process so smoothly and made their life so easy, trust me, it happens all the time. They're going to refer you. And, they will buy less from your competitors. And the more results for you is it's easier to get appointments, you have less cancellations, more meaningful appointments that result in sales. You're not in a hamster wheel. You get your calls returned. How many times do I hear from salespeople? They never return my call. That's because they're not in the buying cycle and you haven't uncovered their needs. If they're not returning your call, trust me when I tell you that means you haven't uncovered their needs or they're in the wrong buying cycle and you haven't found that out. They're not in the cycle of being sold to now. The follow-up becomes more effective, more control over the outcome, and more control over your income. So you'll have less busy work, you'll have less phone calls. This is how you get time management down. You don't need time management when you get this down because you'll have so much spare time because you're not going to be in that hamster wheel returning phone calls, going back and doing whatever, re-showing, whatever it is, emails. You'll have less quotations, less travel, dropping off samples, dropping off whatever, less follow-up. And all of these that are not guaranteed results, that are not guaranteed sales, because we do all of this without intention, without asking the right questions, without qualifying, and there's no guarantee in sales. You're better able to manage your time and leaving you with more time to develop more sales. That's another way your income goes up. It goes up when you are more clear about a sale, when you can upsell, and leaving you time to sell more. That's what you want your schedule to start looking like. So wrapping it up in our Tiffany box, having a strong and consistent strategy is absolutely 100% necessary. If you go into your job without a strategy every day, every week, every month, every 6 months, every quarter, every year, you are riding your bike in sand and you are in that hamster wheel. Or you're going to continue to stay in, as I said, you're going to continue to stay on that hamster wheel, continue to stay in the weeds. If you don't have a strong strategy that you're following, you're going to continue to stay in the weeds. And your sales results, and I see this all the time, are what I call teeter-totter or up and down. So you'll have a really good month, then you have a not-so-great month, then you have another good month, and you're never guaranteed what your income is going to be. Your sales go up and down, and I've heard from people that at the last minute they're asked at the end of the month to get on that phone and close more sales. You won't have to do any of that, because you will consistently be selling. So your sales should be more like calm water. They're going to go up and down. You're not going to have straight, or they're not going to always go up. I mean, if that were the case, that would be wonderful. But they're going to go up, but it's going to be more of a calm water, more of a river, where it just has small, undulating waves. That's what I look for when I look for sales. So my 7 core principles, we're going to review one more time. We talked about selling with intention. We talked about changing your focus. Pull, don't push is another one in my full e-course. Be the solution we talked about. Give clients what they need first. We hit a little bit on that today, but I go into more depth in my e-course, my full e-course. Follow up with purpose. That's a big one. Make time count. That's a really big one, too. But they're all big. So we talked about selling with intention. We talked about changing your focus. And we talked about being the solution. And if you just act upon these 3, I will guarantee you your sales will increase. Your sales will be more consistent. You'll waste less time. I can guarantee you this. So our new approach is busy does not equal business. Focus on loyalty first. Allocate time appropriately. Stay in the driver's seat more often. Focus on solutions, not product. Uncover needs by asking open-ended questions, and lots of them, and listen intently. That's really important, to listen intently. I encourage you to watch good interviewers, not just newscasters, but really good interviewers, someone that you think is a really good interviewer. You know, Oprah Winfrey is one of the best, of course, but, you know, wherever it is, on the news or on an interview program, Charlie Rose is another amazing interviewer. Just watch them for a while. They listen intently, and they ask really good questions. And it's in the form of a conversation. And so people don't balk at what they ask, unless they're trying to hide something, but they don't balk at what they ask. And that's what I encourage you to do. And then we're going to redefine what help really means. So remember this: qualifying is the new servicing. Qualifying is the new bending over backwards for your client. That's the way you bend over backwards. You bend over backwards by finding out what their exact need is, and then you provide the solution. That's bending over backwards. So qualifying is the new servicing. So this is session 3, and it's been my pleasure taking you through these 3 sessions. Email me if you have any questions. It's Deborah@dialogue-consulting.com. Go to my website. I have a form there. You can email me through my website.
I want to thank you, and I hope you both enjoyed and will continue to use these techniques.